Hola amigos, bien o qué. Saludos otra vez con una muy bonita Medellín, un día hermoso. Entonces hoy, día 13, day 13 of our challenge. And a beautiful day it is, but started well, good intentions, bit frustrated. Yes, was a bit frustrated today. Um, Trying to do all the verbs. I'm now at chapter 13 in Breckstein's marvellous book. So if you're watching Barbara, thank you. It's a very good book. Lots of material. Chapter 13, the present subjunctive, however, still a deep mystery for me. I'm going to have to go back and do that one again. So this is my theme for today. What happens when you're studying, you're making progress, and then really you stop making progress and you feel really quite despondent about the whole process? Because today I was quite fed up with it really. I've been doing this, and I'm like, this is not going well. Why can't I understand this stuff? So it's to try and get it back in perspective of how much you actually do understand. So I went back, I looked at the readings I had been doing up until now. So each of the chapters in Barbara's book here, there's a reading. So I went back and looked at some of those. And that was quite obvious just looking at that really, if you'd asked me a month or 2 months ago, maybe even a week ago, how much of that would I really have understood? Then no, I've certainly made progress. And if you asked me that a year ago, then yes, I've really made progress. So there's some good points to take from that. Yeah, is to get it back in perspective, because when we're trying really hard to advance, perhaps when we're doing this type of project, so it's more intensive and we're hoping to make more rapid progress, sometimes it gets a bit frustrating because there are some things which really I've read it twice now and I still don't understand it. So, okay, so let's take a step back, look at how far you've already gone, how far you've already come, which is probably a lot further than you thought, and then maybe look again at the material you've got. So just for the moment, with chapter 13 in Barbara's book today, some of it is like, well, okay, I can see these sentences here, but I'm not quite sure how I'm really going to use these. But that in itself was the clue to the answer. The clue to the answer was just to look at which of these sentences I really would use. I mean, are there some of these that are the kind of thing I would normally say? Okay, well, let's just take those because it's a proper, genuine phrase in Spanish. Let's look at it from which of these sentences I can actually use and where would I use this phrase. And for the moment, I'm just going to prepare to use that as what I know is a good usable phrase in Spanish. I'm not going to overthink or over worry too much if I can't explain all of the rules grammatically as to why it works. I just need to know that it does. So there's that. And then again, I went back to a different book I was reading. That's that Salazar book I think I did a reading of the other week. And I looked at a paragraph in that. Now that's a fairly advanced text really. It's not written for students of Spanish. It's just a book on business and marketing really. So I looked at a paragraph in that book, and again I said to myself, okay, well, if I'd read this thing a year ago, would I have understood it? Answer, probably no. Could I summarize this paragraph briefly, just to say roughly what it's about? Not translate it, but could I just summarize it? Yes, yeah, I could. So, okay, that's another advance. Does my Spanish sound better now? Yes, I think so. There are still some errors in it, but does it sound better? Yes, I think it does sound better. Am I more confident when I'm speaking in Spanish now? Yes, I'm still conscious I make mistakes, but I don't worry so much about them. So in that sense, yes, I'm more confident when I'm speaking. So it's perhaps to do that. So that's my recommend for today. If you too are at that point where you're like, what is going on with this studying? I'm not progressing, I'm just doing this, but I don't really see where I'm going. Take a step back. Have a look at how far you've already come. Because if you've been doing this like me for the last 2 weeks on your English studies, I promise you, you've got a lot further than when you started. So that's progress. And that's a good thing. There might be some bits like me with some grammar points or whatever that are a little bit confusing, but don't get too stuck on those. Look at the bits you have understood, see where you can apply those, take comfort from that, and onwards into tomorrow. So there we are. I hope that helps you feel a bit more positive about it. I'm going to go back now and look in small measure at some of the verbs I've got issues with, but I know it's a bit of a longer task. So I'm going to take a couple of them at a time, add them back into the flashcard dialogues that I've been looking at to try and keep them more relevant to me in the Spanish I want to use. And I'm going to take it from there, and then we'll be back to Barbara's marvellous book tomorrow. So wherever you are, I hope you're having a splendid afternoon, and cheerio for now.